Dear students, good evening. Welcome to La Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 15th December 2020. The first article for discussion is Convergence of Agrarian Discontent in South Asia. See, this is South Asia, it is not in India. It means not only in India, across other countries in South Asia, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, everywhere the farmer distress and discontent is seen. Then, what are the reasons for this? There is a systematic pattern in government decision making over here. Let us understand this. In the initial years after independence, governments believed that agriculture shall be the major source of their income and agriculture as an occupation shall ensure livelihood for millions. So that's why protection of small and marginal farmers was the objective of the government. And also ensuring food security was the responsibility of the state. Fighting hunger and poverty were the objectives of the state. But after globalization, their thinking started changing. The agriculture and the subsidies given to agriculture are more and more are seen as a fiscal burden. Added to that, international pressures, especially economic institutions pressures, have increased onto them. WTO agreements are also not very supportive of subsidies to the farmers. So the pattern of thinking of the states across South Asia started changing. Today they are believing in free markets, technology, corporates, multinational corporations, MNCs. These can save the agriculture from the farmers. They believe that farmers are the reason for their trouble. So agriculture need to be saved from the farmer itself. So it has to be corporatized. This is the wrong way of thinking. What will happen because of this? The agroecology, it means that the diversity of the cropping will grow away. Least sensitivity will exist for biodiversity, environmental or land conservation. Monocropping will increase throughout the length and breadth of the country. And climate resilience agriculture will no more happen. So the extraction and exploitation of the land to its maximum potential to maximize the production will be the future of it. In this scenario, the small and marginal farmers are going to face vulnerabilities that are never seen before. Another issue here we need to see is food security. Food security is important for any sovereign nation. But giving out this food security to the free markets, is it advisable? Any country that is food insecure cannot be sovereign. So, food security, how it will be protected, the governments have no plan and are not ready to answer for the same. If global commodity prices fall, how the governments intend to protect the livelihoods of the farmers, there is no clear answer from the governments. So the governments are looking for a quick fixes to the agricultural problems, structural issues in the agriculture through marketization, that is promotion of free markets, which is the reason for ongoing discontent in the farmers. That's how I can put it as. Firing a warning shot across big tech's boss. What are these big tech companies? Google, Amazon, Facebook, and then Apple. All these are big tech companies. What is the resource of these big tech companies? That is the data which is emanating from all of us. Today, monopolies are developed in various sectors because of these big techs. If you take search engine, Google is the monopoly. E-commerce, Amazon is becoming the monopoly. And social networking, Facebook is becoming the monopoly. So these monopolies, they are crippling the competition. So in a free market economy, if competition is been crippled, it will do not serve the public good. So that's the reason why antitrust laws are being brought in. Added to that, these global chains are also influencing governments and world order. Discriminatory treatment and favorable policy actions from the government they are able to extract. That is the reason why we need to regulate these agencies, these big tech companies. See the situation over here. Now, either you want a Facebook or social networking service or not. If you want to have a networking service, then you have to agree to our terms and conditions. By stating this, they are compromising the privacy of the citizens. See again, if you don't agree to my terms, what is the alternative the consumer has? He has no alternative. Because all the social networking sites are running, major social networking sites are running under Facebook. So that's why, as you have no alternative, you are bound to accept their terms and conditions. The bargaining power of the consumer is becoming weak over here. That's the reason why you have to bring in antitrust laws, or we have to promote competition across big tech companies, and added to that, promote innovation for better interests of the customers, citizens, etc. To protect their privacy and data safety, they have to be better regulated. That is the essence of the article. Next is green over brown. Recently, UNEP has given a report, UN Environmental Program. This is called Emissions Gap Report. This is analyzing the track of the countries on the promises made to Paris Climate Change Pact. In this, India has given nationally determined contributions, that is to reduce the energy intensity, emission intensity, by 33 to 35% over 2005 levels by 2030. And as of now, India says that it has achieved 21%. It means that India is on the right track to decrease the emissions. COVID-19 also has given lot of space to rethink on greenhouse gas emissions, and also provided for a stimulus of $12 trillion, which is huge. So the finances are available. The countries can take an effective action today on greenhouse gas emissions. There is another issue. India, is it doing sufficient? India's contributions are not stated to be sufficient. So, urban transport, especially personal vehicular transport, is increasing, which is becoming the major source of carbon dioxide emissions. So, that has to be replaced by public transport. Afforestation has to be improved. Carbon sinks have to be created. So, it means there is a lot to be done in fight against the climate change. So, the fight did not over just by sticking to NDCs, nationally determined contributions. Eastern disquiet. West Bengal elections are on way. Trinamool Congress and BJP, they are fighting head to head, toe to toe in these elections. In the process, violence has become the norm. In its aggressive Hindutva stand and regional stand of Trinamool, they are coming in conflict with each other. And the norms of and political proprieties are being violated. Many of the constitutional institutions are also being stuck between these political parties. If political parties fight on agendas, ideas, they does good for the people. On the other hand, political parties stigmatize people, polarize people, they does harm to the people. In this context, the fight in the election shall happen on agendas and ideas, not on religion, caste, or something. This is what we need to remember. Tax policy in trying times. Today, e-commerce business has become more popular. And e-commerce giants are there in India. You know, Amazon occupies 1/3 of e-commerce share in India. Flipkart is another company. So, how the tax system has to work on this? Most of the developing countries do not have a strong tax framework on these MNCs, which are tech companies. So, there are many tricks they follow for tax avoidance. The archaic world tax laws, they are unable to fight these tax avoidance techniques of MNCs. That is where new and effective tax laws are necessary. New effective tax laws. We need to change the tax laws to suit to the modern digital technology and business. That is the essence of this article. India needs to rethink its nutrition agenda. So this article is about decreasing nutritional status of Indian children. So fall in nutritional status, it is leading to stunting and wasting. And this stunting and wasting is coming out of inequalities and poverty. So how to solve this? Let me give you an example. The flagship program of Government of India is Poshan Abhiyan. Around 32% of the funds are only utilized which were given for Poshan Abhiyan. So that clearly shows lack of seriousness. So that's where author says that instead of a pragmatic instead of piecemeal approach, we have to go for a holistic approach. A holistic approach in which women role in the society is redefined, the gender relations are readdressed, asset management moves towards the women, and health is seen health is supposed to be seen holistically connected to sanitation, etc. These all the things when we take up, not just a programmatic approach, we can fight this malnutrition in the country. That is what author says. The next article is Divided States of America. America, that is USA, is divided like never before. Added to that, Mr. Trump is creating all kind of conspiracy theories surrounding the elections, in spite of all the courts in India dismissing his petitions due to lack of evidence. But however, 40% of the population of the country are able to buy these conspiracy theories and are also believing in them. And many of the people are white supremacists. Why these white supremacists are believing the Trump story? There is a fear that whites may turn into minority in long run. As of now, they are around 60% population. By 2045, they are expected to fall below 50%. Immigrants, African Americans, Latinos, these are expected to dominate in the population of USA. So this demographic change happening in USA, it is often described as change in color. It means non-whites are becoming prominent. The Kamala Harris victory and also Indian Americans coming on to the political dais, this is all is a heartburn. This all is creating a sense of insecurity among white supremacists. That is what is the point. India is far ahead of China in soft power. Here we need to see about what is soft power, what is hard power. The soft power represents the power of ideas, power of culture, power of values. Hard power represents military and defense power. So India and China can be debated on hard power, but in the case of soft power, India is, far ahead of China according to Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. Gujarat to get mega renewable energy park. So solar and wind energy parks are going to come up in Gujarat, 30,000 megawatt power, which is coming through Adani and Sujlan Power. This is happening in Kutch region of Gujarat. 1971 perpetrators not held accountable, Indian envoy. 1971 is an important year in the history of Bangladesh and also in the history of India. Eastern Pakistan, till then it was called, was Bengali dominated, and Pakistani army started massacring Bengali nationalists. And finally refugee crisis set in, and India has to help these people who are coming from the across the border. So that situation, the Pakistani army has massacred many of the Bengali intellectuals. Till date, these people are not been arrested and they are not been made accountable for the genocide kind of event they have carried forward. In the history of Indo-Bangladesh relations, this 1971 liberation of Bangladesh stands tall. So the building foundations of relations of these two countries stand on the help which was given by India in the form of Mukti Bahini. The final article for today is India-Britain to discuss upgradation of ties. You know, Mr. Boris Johnson is expected to come to India as a chief guest on January 26th. The things are not yet finalized. You also know that Britain is coming out of European Union, which we called as Brexit. In this context, Britain is in a hurry to make trade agreements with various countries to sustain its business. So the first country which it is looking in among the developing countries is India. So first a mover advantage, or it is also called as early harvest free trade agreement, as the things are hot and Britain is ready to offer concessions. That's why India wants to sign this early harvest free trade agreement with Britain. And the second is the strategic partnership is being upgraded to the comprehensive strategic partnership. Comprehensive means few more things are being added. What are they? Defense, trade, Indo-Pacific policy, cooperation on renewable energy, All these are being brought into the comprehensive strategic trade partnership. And sixth generation technologies, especially fighter jet technologies, are being developed for India. Government to government defense contracts are being promoted. Defense technology, industrial capability cooperation agreement is also expected to be signed between these two countries. And there is an aircraft carrier of Queen Elizabeth class. India wants to build the second aircraft carrier, and Queen Elizabeth class know-how is being passed on to India. And maritime domain awareness, as UK is very strong and is called as Blue Navy, maritime awareness, domain awareness is also being transferred, and Indian Navy officials are being trained by UK in this process. It means India-UK relations, especially on defense front, are getting strengthened. So these are the articles for today. This is Dr. Ram Babu signing off for Law Excellence IAS. Thank you very much.